Hello and welcome into episode 2 of the NBA Roundup podcast. Name is Shane Stanley. I'm joined again by John Hepso and Gudmund Hepso. So we're going to get into the first round of the playoffs now today. But first, before we do, we're going to talk about the play-in games this week. Playoffs start today now, so we'll do our first round picks. But before we do, what do you guys think of the play-in game so far?
I actually thought the play-in was very entertaining.
Yeah, there were some really good games. There was a couple letdown games, but that's to be expected anyways.
The San Antonio games were just like, what?
They were
game.
Yeah, game, exactly.
Yeah, so they were all pretty much close games besides that one, I think, that come to mind. They were all within, I believe 10 was probably the next largest margin besides that. So we were saying last week and whether or not we liked it. So this is a big factor in why I do, just because it's been good competitive games and the teams that are in it, they at least provide good basketball, if nothing else.
Yeah, I think it definitely kind of nudged me in the other direction. I was kind of unsure last week, but after sitting up and watching the games, I mean, so many storylines and, great basketball. So.
I'm thinking that the play-in round could be used now. If teams find themselves around there, even the 7 and 8 seed, if they squeak into playoffs, then kind of use, they'll create momentum in the play-in game and carry that into the first round. Well, the other teams, like you said, we were just talking before the podcast there, Phoenix, they're just been sitting around.
They're just sitting there,
Sitting around all week,
It's going to be huge for game one. I think game one. Once they get a game or two, they'll probably fall in their rhythm, but I feel like anything could happen in game one. That's probably the biggest thing.
My first thought was Miami, just because they're not as a powerhouse, but Phoenix was a good point because they've been locked in first for a long time.
Yeah.
So they've been sitting on their laurels a little bit for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
And now this is 6 straight days they've been off, and I don't believe they're playing today either. So it's a full week by the time they play tomorrow. I think they're playing tomorrow, right? So it looks like that they'll probably be shaky in the first game. You lose home court right off the bat. I mean, it's not good, right?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the Minnesota and Clippers game, I guess.
Okay, you want to start with the West? Yep.
Yeah. That game was absolutely ridiculous.
Game,
Karl Anthony Towns, what was he at? 11 points in 24 minutes and fouls out.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Just a bunch of boneheaded plays. I am so surprised they survived that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy to see a really good performance from Edwards. I'm pretty sure he's Canadian too, right? So good to see the Canadian kid come out and play. I really kind of slept on him a little bit. I was just thinking cat. What else did he have? He got a couple other guys around him, but I really underestimated how good he is. He can really carry the first team, on his back, and he really did in this game.
Yeah, that was huge. I always kind of liked him, when he got drafted, because I like those kind of style players, Russell Westbrook, John Morant, Derrick Rose's guys who are athletic point guards. But the thing with Anthony Edwards is he can actually shoot the ball as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he really stepped up to the plate on this one.
Him and D'Angelo Russell are very similar players.
Yeah.
And they're just going to attack all day long.
And D'Angelo Russell, he seemed to be very composed in this game too.
Mm-hmm.
When Towns went out, he kind of stepped into that role, the leader, and just kept everybody
just
at an even
chilled
keel,
everything.
slow down the pace and get a good shot.
I was making notes through these games too, so what the scores were throughout, and I find a common theme in these games was the team that was leading after 3 almost lost every time. It was very wild. Obviously we'll get to the second game last night.
Well, there's a reason they're 9 or 10 seed.
Yeah, well, true. I mean,
we can almost win.
Yeah. I mean, it's 2 teams that are just they win some games, they lose some games, so it's kind of just a roller coaster, really.
It is, yeah.
Everything that was going on. So, Paul George played well in this game. Obviously, we'll get again to the game last night, and unfortunate for him. But so they ended up losing this game. So Minnesota becomes the 7 seed.
Minnesota becomes the first 7 seed to win the championship before the playoffs.
I was waiting. Who was going to
Patrick Beverley, blood, sweat, and tears on the court.
My God.
Up on the scoring table, crying after the game.
Confetti falling down.
Yeah.
They're going to hang a banner now next week.
Yeah. I heard they're putting a
Playing
statue.
tournament champion.
I heard they're putting a Patrick Beverley statue at the arena.
Oh my god, that was funny. But you can't knock the boys for being excited.
No, yeah.
They were like 20-odd wins last year, and now they're in the playoffs.
They've been in the playoffs once since like Kevin Durant's been in Minnesota. So
Wow.
I mean,
once was with Jimmy.
not
Butler.
that all these guys have been there since then.
No,
But
but the
like-
main guys.
But
Yeah.
look, D'Angelo Russell's only been there for like 4 or 5 or 6 years. Like,
Yeah, these guys are suffering.
They're all
Every
young,
single one,
like,
yeah.
60 years
not
old.
like they're-
Come back, Kevin Garnett.
yeah, it's not like they're 30-something years old and finally made the playoffs or something.
I bleed Timberwolf.
Yeah, like, come on.
Well, like I feel like Patrick Beverley's been like in this playing scenario so many times now.
He's been in the playoffs every year except for
like the
1
Clippers
year.
are always down around that range of like 7, 8. Like he's just always fighting, just
Yeah.
to get literally fighting people, like,
Yeah.
just to get in. It's just
I found it funny because Patrick Beverley, he's supposed to be like the veteran guy on the team, and after a game he's freaking out, crying, like jumping up on the scoring table and everything, and was it Anthony Edwards? He's just following him around like his son. Like he's just like, Patrick Beverley jumps on the scoring table, I'm gonna do it too, and he just runs and jumps up. D'Angelo
Monkey see,
Russell's
monkey
just
do.
standing there like looking around like, man, what is going on right
serious?
now?
Yeah.
But I think he was loving it as well though.
Yeah, it's just, I think it just proves that he's really a big softy at heart.
He is.
He's out there, always causing chaos, but he's just a big softy.
But it's wild. When he first came to Timberwolves, in his introductory, I don't know that word, but press conference, he said this team is going to make the playoffs. And he beat his former team, the Clippers, who basically gave him nothing of a contract.
Well,
disrespectful contract.
Big time, man.
And,
And
you
you
guys,
take them
you guys mentioned it too, like
Backed it
what
up.
a step up it was from last year, like how many
Yeah.
wins they had, and
For sure.
they've gotten better this year. Obviously, during the playoffs, playing a team that's inexperienced too. So I mean, they're kind of in the same boat, really, as the team they're playing. So I mean, they certainly got a shot in that series, I think. All right, so should we stick to the West, or are we gonna go by like chronological order of night?
Keep it going West.
Keep it going to West. Okay. So we'll move on to Wednesday night's game, which was New Orleans Pelicans versus San Antonio. And as John mentioned, Pelicans really had a chance here to gain momentum now over these past couple days. So they look good in this game. This was the game that was a 10-point gap by the end of it. So it was. Now this goes against what I said last time, but Pelicans were up big after the third quarter. So they really ran away with it and then just kind of took their foot off the pedal a little bit in the fourth. They really controlled this game from start to finish.
Yeah. The second quarter was the quarter that the doors just got blown out.
Right.
Because CJ McCollum, man, when he starts hitting his shot, it's over.
Yeah, he had 19 in the second quarter.
7-7, yeah. Jesus.
Crazy.
Wild. And, Ingram's throwing in his little step backs and just burying Spurs, man. DeJounte Murray tried to come out in the third and be assertive, but
The whole thing.
you can't do it by yourself.
Yeah, this game was really just, the Pelicans were the better team, and they did what they had to do.
Yeah.
Just won this game, moved on to the next.
They're actually pretty deep too. Considering like they had a rookie go off. I know we're getting into last night's game a little bit, but they had a rookie go off last night for 14. He had a lot of big threes.
What's the last name? Jones.
Jones.
Marvin Jones or something?
No, that's football.
Damn.
And then the Alvarado kid, he was playing well. He's a little spark plug. I actually seen a video of him on Facebook. Do you ever see this where he hides on the baseline and then he runs up and steals the ball? I just watched that I watched it 3 times. I'm like, this guy's awesome.
Yeah,
I really
fan favorite.
Yeah, just he's
Not
just
in
a
the spirit of the game at
little,
all.
little shifty guy who's just running around, just causing chaos.
Just hiding.
Yeah, it's just nobody sees him there.
And all the bench players surround the corner of the court as well, so it kind of just looks like it's
So
their bench players.
He's blending in, yeah.
It's
So
like
watching
chicken
him, and then-
Alfredo.
I mean, obviously, all the main guys on their team stepped up as well. Ingram, a lot of CJ, obviously.
Valanciunas had a good game.
Valanciunas, yeah.
17 boards.
Man, if they get Zion back, I know we touched on it last week. They kept panning to him on the bench last night, and I'm just man, I keep forgetting he's there.
Yes.
And he can be a part of that team. Part of me feels like they'd be worse.
Yeah. So
I feel like it's a little bit of addition by subtraction kind of thing.
But the thing with Zion is you can just plug him in the lineup. You don't have to give him the ball. He's just going to go in, look at rim. Somebody puts up a shot. I'm going to get that. and he jumps up, gets it, puts it back with a 60% field goal percentage. Like, you just give him the ball, it's quick 3 seconds, he's at the rim, jumps up higher than anyone else, and just lays it in.
He's actually probably the most desirable player to play with.
Yes, well, him and Klay Thompson, probably.
Yeah, well, there's a few, but, you know. Yeah, Klay Thompson's he's doing it, but he's hitting 3 points instead of 2. So
it's the same idea. It's just where they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like, I found that they got a lot of bigs, too. Obviously, plugs on in Valanciunas. Nance played great this week.
He did, yeah.
And so, I mean, they got 3 solid. Like, he was doing a bunch of putbacks past couple games. Like they got a solid roster, man. I must say, like, Phoenix, but like they do have a very solid roster. I've been really impressed with them these past 2 games.
Yeah.
So we'll go back before we get into the second half of playing games from Friday. We will get into the East. So going back to Tuesday, Brooklyn defeated the Cavs 115-108. Kyrie Irving, like, just a phenomenal game. Like,
started 9 for 9, right? The first half.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he shot after that or how long he stayed perfect, but he ended 12-15, 12 assists, 34 points. Just a very impressive game.
Brooklyn totally, like, they shot 71% in the first quarter. Like, they were just lights out from the start. Like, they were leading the first 40-20. They had 11 assists. They were passing the ball well. Just proficient offense. It's crazy to think that they could be potentially better too.
Yeah,
Imagine how brutal that's gonna be for the Cavaliers. That young team just coming out and going, "Yeah, we're playing against Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, like, and we're at home. Like, this is gonna be awesome." And they come in the first quarter, and Kyrie just buries like 5 shots.
They were in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that was in Brooklyn.
Oh, right, they did. Yeah,
they were in Brooklyn,
right. Yeah, they were at home in the second game.
Yes.
But either way, they come out and Kyrie Irving just nails like 5 straight shots. Kevin Durant hits like, what was it, 3 or 4 or something?
No, he started perfect.
He started perfect too.
It's kind of like Gudmund was saying, like, they walk in, they're like, we're playing against KD, not Kyrie. Then, like, after the first half, playing KD and Kyrie.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's a nosedive.
Just completely changes. Like, it's just like, you can look at it from 2 perspectives.
Oh, man.
Yeah, but it was a great game. Yeah. I mean, both of the boys, Kyrie Irving and KD, double-doubles. KD had 25 and 11.
Yeah. Kyrie had 28 after 3. Like, it's just
at least the Cavs, they didn't let it get to a point where it was like, just not worth watching. It was always they were always in that range of, can they make a little run here and get back in the game? Like,
if they had Jared Allen, it would have made a big difference.
That was huge too.
Because every time, like, think of it, what you got to do on defense against Brooklyn. Okay, normal teams, you got a ball carrier, Luka Doncic. You just double him. You just double him and then hope the other guys beat you. Mm-hmm. But then against the Nets, you go up, you double KD, and it's like, oh shit, Kyrie's somewhere, not doubled. Yeah. And then he gets the ball, and it's just, the defense got to shift, and the buddy was wide open under the net like 10 times.
And then they also combined for like 23 assists.
Yes.
So, like, what do you even do, man? If they're not scoring, they're getting it inside the Drummond or kicking it out. It's like, man, what are you supposed to do?
That's the issue with 2 supreme talent ball handlers. It's just you can't double either one of them.
Yeah.
Because if you double the other one, you're leaving the other one open.
Like, it shows how frustrating this season could be for fans of Brooklyn, just because, like, they know how good this team could be.
Yes.
Like on paper, I mean, they're such a good team. I mean, obviously Ben Simmons would make their defense better if he ever plays ever again.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, obviously Joe Harris is out. Another good shooter that would be, just bombing threes all playoffs.
Imagine him and Steph Curry just like, hey, Seth, come out. Joe, you go in. It's just you're swatting players, and one got full energy while the other one's coming off.
Yeah.
And it's just like imperfect sync, and you just got an amazing.
That's really been the best part now, looking back at that trade. It's just like how good Seth Curry's been.
Yes.
So it's not like
Drummond.
It's not like they traded for Ben Simmons and then they're just like, okay, well now we're porked because we're stuck with this guy. Like, they did get pieces out of it that's still helping.
Seth, he didn't have a good game the other night, but I don't expect that. Like, he had 0 points, 0 for 4.
Yeah, I can't see that.
Like, for him to be the only one who's not shooting well, I feel like that's an anomaly. And
I agree.
He'll be better.
But it has to like happen at a time when Kyrie and KD aren't also going off.
Exactly.
Like if they're going off, doesn't matter so much. No, in this instance, no. But if he's like if they're not having a great game, those other guys are expected to do more.
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Well, at least shoot 45% or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean,
respectable.
Yeah. I mean, obviously at that point, like you expect him. Well, he'll take more shots, I assume.
Yeah.
Like if Kyrie's hot, just feed him.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're gonna do that. You got those big guys inside. I mean, there's no shock that they went in that direction. So I do expect them to be better. Though,
Like when I seen Kyrie just comes up, crossing over, doing his thing at the 3, and he just pulls up, and it's like there's a 7-footer with his arm up, trying to get him, and it's just like Kyrie just doesn't even see him. It's just the smoothest motion ever. The most
like not even
confidence.
there.
Yeah. He's such an underrated shooter, man.
He is. Well, his
Like-
percentage doesn't show it, but like in-game clutch shots.
But it's
Yeah,
because he
clutch,
takes
yeah.
such hard shots.
Yeah.
All of his shots are ridiculously hard. Like how can you shoot 40-something% if you're getting contested by 7-footers and doing step backs and fading away from 3, like
And you're going in the lane and all this fucking
Yeah, like,
360
come on, man.
between the legs, crazy
it's one of those
shit.
things, one of those prime examples. If you look at the stats and you watch the game, it's two complete different meanings. But-
Yes,
Yeah.
there's art behind the game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to shout out Bruce Brown too. I thought he played well in this
Yeah.
game specifically.
He's a great
He
commentator.
had like his like if you look at the scorecard or whatever, like his points aren't going to jump off the page at you, but he had a lot of those buckets early in the first and a lot late in the fourth.
Yeah.
So like they came at impact moments.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out in this game.
So
So moving over to Wednesday, we'll get to Atlanta and Charlotte. What do you guys think about this one?
this was a barn burner. It's like 4 Charlotte Hornets were in the barn.
man.
And Trae Young there with a torch, and he just fucking heaved to that barn, man, burnt the whole thing to the ground. It's like, man, oh man. Now, not that he played amazing or anything.
No.
Like in the first half, it was just him and LaMelo were just throwing bricks all over the place, building walls and that. And but he just turned it on, took over the game after a while.
Yeah. And I don't know. Like we kind of made the prediction. Me and John did that. LaMelo would have a good game. Trae would have a good game. Of course, 2 of them didn't. Shane kind of went the other direction.
Yeah.
Because this was more of a game of the others. You know.
It was.
Everybody else stepped up. Like on Atlanta, Clint Capella had a pretty good game. Bogdanovich. I like that guy, man. He's
I love watching him play.
He's deadly,
He is so fun. Like it's just like it's like I feel like their whole team is like that. Like just a bunch of spark plugs.
DeAndre
Just, you know.
Hunter had like 27 points, I think.
Yeah, like it's gonna be one of those guys. Like it's nobody consistently.
No.
It's Trae Young consistently going nuts.
Yeah.
And then you need somebody to fill in the secondary scoring. And it's just one of those guys, you know, whoever's game it is.
As Gudmund said, Hunter went off. Bogdanovich had a good game. Herder's good. Gallinari can shoot.
Capella was
John Collins is probably going to come back at some
it?
point. I don't know if he is or not because I think that's who Hunter's in for.
And
I think that's who he's
unfortunately,
starting for.
Capella had a hyperextension last night.
Yeah.
Mobley fell on him.
It was caused by his own fault.
yeah.
Well, he pulled on him.
Pulled Buddy down.
You got to expect him to fall towards your direction.
Break my leg.
it's unfortunate. Like I don't know, was it a hyperextension or do you think it could be more? I mean, it just
It
happened
looked
last
to me
night, so.
like when your knee bends like that.
Mm-hmm.
If it looks like it's holding tension the whole time, then you're good. It's likely just a strain. But when you see it go and something let go, then your ACL's gone.
This
right?
is not a visual podcast, but John was just trying to break his own finger to try to show us what happened to Capella's knee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's more of a strain than anything else because you didn't see anything pop. But
Yeah.
So
maybe a return in a couple
both
games.
Ball and Young ended the first half 3 of 13, so they're both almost like matching each other with like what they're doing, and then Atlanta just put up 42 in the third and really ran off with it from that point on.
Yeah. LaMelo shot 28% from the field in this game, man.
Come on, man.
That's brutal.
There was a point in the game where LaMelo missed 7 straight shots.
Yeah.
And Trae Young missed 8 straight shots.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like,
That's the way it's like they were matching each other. Like,
yeah, and like you said,
anything you can do, I can do better.
I can do worse.
Chucking up air balls. Oh, I can do that too.
Watch this. Yeah.
But yeah, like all those guys from Atlanta chipped in. I mean, they were up by 26 after 3, and
I just shut it off.
yeah, I don't think I watched much of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, no, that wasn't a great game. I was expecting more, a lot more. So, 30-point win.
Well, again, just going back to how deep Atlanta is, I had here that all Atlanta starters had at least 13 points, and they had 3 bench players that had 8 or more. So, like, that's 8 players deep that are almost getting double-digit points.
Yeah.
I mean, that's hard to beat. You know, you can't just take away one guy. And then, of course, again, Trey can always go off for as much.
Well, Trey had a bad game in that first playing game, and he still put up 132.
They won by 30 on the road.
And 1 by 30. Oh, come on.
And he had
No, that was at home. That was at home.
Was it at home?
Atlanta was.
Oh, yes.
We keep thinking about these.
Yeah, I'm thinking about last night.
Yeah.
That's their playing twice. All right, so I think that's all for the initial games, correct?
Yeah,
So we can get into the secondary games. So we'll start last night with Cleveland versus Atlanta because that was the first game on last night. So Cleveland is at home at this one.
Yeah.
But this time it was the other way. They came out at home. They did come out like a ball of fire starting.
They did.
Like,
Yes.
they were hitting from 3 from everywhere. Like Markkanen was just hitting shots from everywhere. He was like 8 of 9 or 6 of 9 or something, just starting off, and they were all
That was
threes.
impressive.
Like
It's so
it was
impressive.
nuts.
Yeah, like where he's, what is he, like almost 7 feet tall?
7
foot.
foot.
He's 7 footer. If they're shooting like that, man.
I was watching the game, and I looked, and I seen Trae Young trying to get into the paint, and I said, "Holy fuck!" It's like there's 3 7-footers in there. See, they're just like just holding their arms up, man. It's like Trae Young's in there amongst the trees, like don't know what to do.
Yes, yeah. I mean,
Man,
there's only so
man.
much, you know.
What, like, I would have loved to see Cleveland make it just because of their raw size and like defensive ability.
And one thing you got to give Atlanta credit for, especially down the stretch, is playing to Cleveland's strengths, using their strengths as a weakness, because they knew they had these 7-footers on the court. They draw them into the 3, get a switch on Trae Young, and this was play after play after play. Poor old Lauri Markkanen, man. He had to guard Trae Young on almost every play down the stretch.
Yeah.
And he would just, take it to him, blow bomb, come in, do a floater.
Yeah, and,
Blow bomb.
and that's exactly how he was counteracting their
Yes.
size.
And then-
He hit that floater like 5
Yes.
times.
Just wearing them out.
Oh my God, he came in and had this one teardrop layup. It was like it was Steph Curry-esque. Yeah, finger roll, jumped up, it just went over his fingers and then dropped in. And then he comes back to the 3, and instead of taking it to the rack, he does a quick crossover, steps back to the logo. Karis LeVert goes flying in past the 3, and he just pulls it and swish. Oh my God, man.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Well, in the first half, Cleveland was actually playing that very well. Like their 7-footers would come out and they're so long that Trae can't cross them over because it is what it is. But Trae, I think, really wore him down after a while.
Yeah.
There's only so much energy as a 7-footer you can play on the perimeter.
That's the thing, right?
Yeah, I found like Atlanta came out sloppy starting off. They had a lot of turnovers in that first couple minutes when Cleveland was going. Like they had all the momentum. Like they were hitting shots, and then Atlanta would come down and turn it over. And then they hit another one, and Atlanta would come down and turn it over. Like they were trying to feed it inside first, and then as you guys said, they got all those 7-footers in there, and they realized, okay, this ain't working.
Yeah.
So then they changed it up and went to something else. But Cleveland was up by 10 after the half. So Atlanta came out better in the second half, and pair that with Cleveland had some poor shooting. It really got Atlanta back in the game. And then Trae Young, as you said, he started hitting a couple threes late in the third. He had 10 points in the final minute of the third quarter. So
a lot of free throws.
That's when, he did go to the line twice during it. I think it was 2 threes, and then he went to the line twice. So it ended up being 10 points. But ended up tying it at the end of 3, and then they started on an 11-0 run in the first 6 minutes of the fourth. So Cleveland couldn't hit a shot to start fourth.
Wow. I don't know, like, were you paying real close attention to this game?
I wasn't during the first half, but I think like
In
during
the
the
second
second half, I just kept hearing the commentators go off about how Trae Young was playing out of his mind.
All right.
Really.
There was that one time when the commentators were just quiet, and this guy was about to shoot a free throw, and all you hear, no! There's one of these fans off in the corner doing this crazy fucking scream, and the guy at the line, man, he bricked it. I was like, that's a meme right there.
I thought you were gonna say he burst out laughing.
That'd be funny.
That'd be funny. Too.
But I certainly burst out laughing after the fact. That was awesome.
Just goes to show the fans really do have an impact on the game.
Even if it's one guy. Yeah.
Man, you ever see
One guy
that?
can change the world.
You ever see that camera angle where they switch to the front of the net and all you see is those like whacking tubes in the body?
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, how does anybody shoot during this? Like, it's crazy. Like, my percentage would be like 5% on the road. Like, just wouldn't be able to do it.
Just be dying laughing.
The fans.
Like those are almost like if you're sitting directly behind the backboard and you're elevated to the point where you're like level with the backboard, you would imagine that's like one of the worst spots to be to watch the game because you can't see what's going on the other end, and when you come down, your vision at the three is kind of blocked and everything. But it's also like one of the best spots to be a pest as a fan. Like,
they know their role.
Yeah, exactly. They're the solid role players for the arena.
My role is to just be a dick when people shoot free
exactly.
throws. Yeah, so that was the East. So Atlanta squeaks in. As John said, they're coming in with like a house of fire now, going up to Miami. So can they make a run now off of this? Like, can they build off this to go further? Like, we'll see. Like, they're in a good spot. We'll see what Capella.
It just sucks. You gotta watch this, and they're going to Miami. It's the same thing as what do you call it? The Pelicans going to Phoenix. It's like you do all work so hard to get out of this playing and get to the playoffs, and now you're just facing a giant like a
Now you get the best team in the league.
This is your prize for winning the plan. Best team in the league.
It cracked me up like Trae Young. Like as soon as the horn went off, he was there waving to the fans. Right, bye Cleveland, bye. Congratulations, you're the worst team playing. We're the worst, not you.
Trae Young loves it, man. He loves being in those situations.
Like, you could tell Cleveland, the fans, at the end of the game, they were clapping to show respect, I guess, for Atlanta.
Yeah.
But then, like, Trae Young comes out and just totally disrespects them. You know, I hate that. But, you know, you almost got to love it in the
competitive.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Like, he
like,
really
a bit
takes
over the top, but
yeah, for sure. Like he takes everything personal. I guess he's just like Michael Jordan in that regard. And
but Jordan would have never done that.
I took that personally.
Jordan would have never done that.
No, I'm just
waving the crowd home. It's like,
no, definitely
he just had a lot of respect for fans.
Oh no, 100%. And well, that's where he takes it too far, right? But
he took it out on the team, not the fans,
or both of them, really.
Yeah, well, I guess technically, yeah.
It's like, Jesus, man, you already crushed our team. Like, don't disrespect us too. We're just here to watch the game. Like,
we paid to see this.
Yeah. Come on.
You didn't pay and you disrespected.
So before we get to the West, came out yesterday afternoon that Paul George had. I guess he tested positive. Yes,
he must have.
He must have.
He did, and he was symptomatic.
Race. Okay, well, yeah. So he tested positive for COVID. So unfortunately, he didn't get to play last night. And to me, I mean, this all but sunk their season. But they made a good run at it though without him. I must say, like not at first. At first, it took some adjustment to get used to how they're going to run their offense, especially like they. It was kind of like everybody pitched in, but it wasn't like I don't know. It just wasn't fluid or something. It was just like people would miss shots and like Zubac would like clean up the garbage in front of the net and just get an offensive rebound and put it in. Like there was no flow.
There was times where they just didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like Reggie Jackson had the ball. And he'd just throw it off to somebody else. I seen Man do that a lot too. Just look lost on the play. And I was just like, it's like you had to think. Obviously, they had a game plan in place before this, and then their game plan is not playing. Yeah.
So like they just got nothing. They're just like, what do we do now? Like, all right, we'll just wing it, I guess, right? And
Marcus Morris had a great game. I think what he had like 27, 28 points.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, he was
really well.
Step back threes and everything. I was like, man.
So I was telling John last night. I was like, I thought he was getting old, man. Like. He can move, man. Like I was impressed.
It was impressive.
I haven't watched many of the Clippers games this year.
He kind of reminds me of ISO Joe Johnson with the Nets. You guys remember him?
Yeah,
I do. Yeah,
and he was just like this big man strength guy.
Yeah,
who just grew up, you know, on the basketball court, some street, and just playing one-on-one. And just back in, man, do this little fadeaway or cross you up and take to the rim. And this is what Marcus Morris reminds me of.
Uh-huh.
Like, if he was the number one player for a team, it would be a shit show.
Yeah, I mean, he was obviously presented an opportunity where it's like, okay, you can take more shots.
Yeah, exactly.
This game.
You got a green light. We need somebody to have it.
Yeah.
I feel like for this game, it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, Shane. Just the inconsistencies. with the lower seeded teams, where like New Orleans started out hot, then the Clippers made a run, and then they blew that run, and just so much inconsistency. I guess you could call it a really competitive game as well, and it could happen with any team, but almost just seems like too big of runs going on. Like,
well, it's that mix of like, okay, do you give credit to the team that's coming back or a team blowing it?
Exactly.
That's blowing that 10-point lead. Like, it's like they're having a race to see who can blow a 10-point lead faster.
exactly.
You know?
Who can blow the most 10-point leads in a game? Like,
So that's who wins.
Yeah.
3-1.
You see the
king of the
It's like
difference.
final minute. They're down by 8. They're like. Reggie Jackson just comes in and fires the ball at CJ McCollum.
No, the inbound. He just throws it in. He just eats it up and stands.
He just dunks it on his own head.
Yeah.
10, perfect.
Yes!
We're up 3-2.
Yeah. Then he goes in and scores 10 right quick. And anyways.
Either way, this was a, like, I thought Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum, when they first came out, they looked so comfortable. They, like, Ingram was just out there like nothing else mattered in the world. The arena could have been burning down and he would have still been playing basketball. Just locked in, man. Just doing his thing.
Yeah, it seemed that way. Like there was just hurricanes going on around him, and he was just laser focused.
Yeah.
He had that look in his eyes, you know.
Crazy. And well, CJ was just along for the ride, man. Just making shots here and there. They did have a terrible spurt though, like end of the second to like mid third.
Yeah.
They were very quiet and Clippers made a massive run.
I think it was 20-2 run. They were like 1 of 9. The Pelicans were like 1 of 9 at one point.
Well, the Clippers outscored them 38-18 in the third.
Yeah, there you go.
There was a big stretch.
That was a big run.
Obviously, some laps in defense too. If you're giving off,
that's where I thought the Clippers were gonna run away with it.
Mm.
The experience.
Yes.
We're gonna play defense and run the floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Brandon Ingram started coming alive again.
Yeah.
You know,
He's just like, enough of this shit. Give me the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there was a point again when that Murphy kid hit 2 big threes.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
that might have been when the game was tied. So like they were back, and then there was some big shots. Like they would get an offensive rebound, kick it out. He's out there by himself because they thought it was coming the other way.
And he made some huge free throws.
Yeah, he did.
Hardly though.
Both of them, and like bounced up and then yelled at him. I'm like,
God, that was so
crazy.
funny, man.
So like, well, this game really did come down to free throws. Like,
It did.
like at the very
Nance
end,
missed 2.
they were up by 3. Nance missed 2, and then who was it for the Clippers? I had Jackson missed 1 and Powell missed 1. They made 1 each.
Yeah.
And missed the other. So like, I mean, that puts them within 1 at that moment because they were down 3.
Well, it just
Most of this
totally
was going
changes
on.
the dynamic, right? Because you can foul. Doesn't matter what he does on that end. And you
You
have
still
possession.
got 3. Yeah,
Right?
That's right. That's right.
So it kind of, that missed free throw.
Yeah, exactly. Because like, at the very end, they were down 4, which was the final score, and they missed the 3, got it back, missed another one.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they hit it with those 2 extra points, it would have been for the win.
For the win, yeah.
Yeah, they would have been down 2 instead of 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then they could have just went for 2
Yeah,
instead of 3. They didn't have the.
They didn't have the closer on the court, right?
Well, that's what it was.
You got your 1B, who would be your closer in the situation, Paul George. But when this team is healthy, this is why I chose him as a dark horse team.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you throw Kawhi Leonard in the mix, and he's the ultimate closer.
And defender.
And defender, and you got the exact same thing in Paul George, just at a 4-star level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's definitely who I feel worse for. I think is just Kawhi. Just knowing that he probably could have played if they kept going.
Like missing another quality.
Missing a whole
year.
what do you say? It's probably the back end of his prime, but still his prime.
Another
I would
year
say,
out the window, man.
The whole
Gone,
season
yeah.
just gone. Yeah.
Wasted.
Like I mean, eventually we'll be like I don't know how much longer they're all going to stay in with the Clippers, but I mean like we have to look back at this as a failed experiment at some point.
Yeah.
Like because when I remember when they all first went there, I'm like, oh my god, LeBron's going to the Lakers. All those guys are going to the Clippers. Like Kawhi was gonna go to the Lakers there for a bit, and then he was like, nah, I'm gonna go to the other LA team. We're gonna go head to head. Like they've never played each other in the playoffs. They've never had any meaningful games really.
Although they made it to the conference finals last year, but Kawhi was out, and they lost to 6.
They lost in
5?
6.
In 6, yeah. And
to Phoenix, right?
Phoenix.
Game 6, Chris Paul closing the game.
Well, like, even if it's not, like, I mean, on paper, you'd love to see Lakers, Clippers in the West Final. Like, I want to see that past couple years. And, like, geez, I'll take the first round at this point. Just play each other. Yeah. You know, like, and we just never get to see
I'll take the play-in.
At this point, yeah.
One game.
And I think the Clippers, like, swept them this year, so I think they won, like, it was, like, 7 games or something they beat them in. So, I mean, like, you know, even that's not competitive. Like, just give me something between the two teams. I care less and less about it now because this is 3 or 4 years now that they've all been here, and really hasn't kind of fell into place. You know, those two playing each other, and like, you know, again, the Clippers eventually they're going to break up. I mean, the Lakers they might already be there. You know, we talked about it last week, and just what a mess they are. But you know, when it comes to this game, you know, focus attention right now on the Pelicans. They played well. They're going up against Phoenix. I don't know how good they fare in that. But
we'll get into it.
Yeah, so that's it. That's it for playing games. So, John, you wanted to get in to a segment first about players that have the most to gain by winning a championship this year. So
the top 5.
Yeah, 5.
Air quotes.
Is there some honorable mentions?
So it's not honorable mentions, but I'll start with number 5.
Yeah.
And I call it Lou Jakic. Okay.
This is cheating, man.
Like, I just feel Ja Morant, Luka, and Jokic. They all Lou Jakic, right? They all have the exact same thing to gain, really.
Yeah.
You know, this young player who could, if they win the championship, will be 1-0. And that's unprecedented for somebody at their age. I was gonna go with Luka first, but then I was like, Ja.
They're all in the
and
same
then I was
boat.
thinking Jokic, and there's another player too. Think of a young player, Tatum. Tatum could be in this conversation as well.
Sure.
Just, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they get the first championship. It's not a make or break for their career because they're so young and they have so much time to make up for it.
But it's just
it would give them
gravy at this
It would
point.
give them a
You know,
good start to their career.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about LeBron. He was 0-1 in his finals. When he was younger, he went to finals. And now look at him. So
Exactly.
if he were to win one, then he'd have 5 now. So
that's like when you first said that, like the first person that came to my head is Booker. And then I was like, well, he lost one. And I was like, well, you know, not always a bad thing. You know, they not saying that Booker's going to be LeBron James or anything, but you know, like
Kobe type. If you know,
yeah, sure. I mean,
if he were to win that first one and continue on that trajectory, you know.
And you know, obviously, you know, Phoenix using Booker as that example, like, you know, we all expect them, I'm sure, to, you know, make some sort of run at it this year. So, you know, we'll see with him. Like those other teams, like Ja's in it, right? Yeah,
2 seed.
You know. The other two, you know, they're all in the same conference too, I guess, right? So, I mean, they're all kind of battling for the same prize, but not so much in the East. I mean, like Boston's, you know, not this core of players, but they've been there. You know, like they've won championships recently. Brooklyn, I mean, KD, obviously, Kyrie been in that moment. So, like, not so much in the East Conference. Like, Miami was in the finals a few years back in the bubble, so like it's a little bit less on that side. But there's a lot of young stars, obviously.
unless you wanted to throw Joel Embiid into that mix, but he's not.
He's
really
probably
young.
the one that stands out. Yeah,
he's not really like a young player. What is he, like 26?
He's
25,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The process only started like 7 years ago. The longest process in sports.
You never get anything done.
No. But either way, we'll get to number 4 on this list. Kevin Durant. Maybe shocked he's on the list, but the biggest knock on KD is his championships have come by joining the super team, Golden State, that beat him, that came back from 3-1 lead the season before. Right? So he has 2 championships with a very small asterisk next to him. But if he can win with Brooklyn, then it'd be like, okay, you know, I get the credit as a championship player now. I led this team. I created this team. It's my team, and we won.
Yeah,
to me, that's huge.
I think that's fair. I feel like it's also, you know, just to add to what you said, if he goes on to win the finals now, where LeBron missed the playoffs, because it's really him and LeBron, and Giannis is coming into the mix now, and Steph is there.
If Giannis wins it, Steph too. Steph wins 4.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
he
as kind of the best player in the league, like if Durant goes on to win this now, that's all anybody's going to talk about. Who's the best player in the league? Is it Kevin Durant now that he won another championship? So he does have a lot to gain from this.
Especially if he eliminates Giannis.
But that is the thing, too, with Steph Curry is, like, he did win the championship before KD joined them, so he always had that.
Does, yeah.
He always had that on him.
Yeah.
KD needs to have that on his own now.
Yeah.
And although, yes, he does still have a super team, I'm doing the finger quotes because, like, if they had Harden, they didn't. Ben Simmons not even playing, so do you count that? Like, there's definitely some asterisks still there, especially if, like, they were to make the finals. Well, same thing. Kyrie makes the winning shot or something like that, then who gets the credit?
Well, if they're
still going to get that.
If they win the championship, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving go on to win the championship, this will be a super impressive run.
Yes.
Like,
where
crazy
start
playoff
from?
run.
I mean, coming from the play-in and then
my God, man!
And looking at like the dynamic of like it's looking like on paper because again, if they don't reseed,
they don't. It's bracket style.
It is bracket. So like their path to the championship right now is Boston, Milwaukee. Whoever comes out could be Philly, could be Toronto, could be Miami. But
that's three tough matches.
And then Phoenix, if you want to go by paper, right? Like just
it'll be like one of the hardest,
unbelievable
playoff
runs,
right? But I feel like if he wins the championship, it'll solidify him as a top 15, top 10 player of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
With that championship on his own.
Yeah.
So moving up to number 3, Giannis Antetokounmpo. You might expect him to be a little higher on the list, but think about this: if he wins back-to-back championships and back-to-back Finals MVP, he finds himself in very rare territory.
He does.
So there's only 5 players who ever did it: Jordan, Hakeem, Shaq, Kobe, and LeBron. He throws his name in with them. That's rare air there.
It is, yeah.
So, and I think if he wins championship and back-to-back MVPs, he's in the top 15 conversation all the time now.
Mm-hmm.
He's just continuously climbing with his Defensive Players of the Year, MVPs.
Mm-hmm.
He was in scoring race. I'm sure he'll get one of these years.
Yeah, like my thing with him too is like you mentioned in that number 5 rank that like a lot of those guys, if they won a championship, it's just like a bonus, like gravy or whatever. So we said I think his title last year was that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if he builds off it again, I mean, it's almost still that. I mean, he's young. I mean, to already have 2 final MVPs, defensive player. I mean,
to me, 2-0 is the biggest.
And
thing.
he is the lead guy. He's not doing it with super teams.
No.
Well,
it was all created in house, right?
So he'll match
Drew Holiday.
He'll match Durant,
but never got a huge all-star superstar player.
No.
That's right. Drew Holiday.
If he had Steph Curry walk in the door.
Exactly. I love Drew Holiday. Great defender, great player, but he's by no means a Steph Curry or somebody of that caliber like Kyrie Irving or something.
I believe Middleton was an all-star too, but he was built. He was built in-house. Like he was there.
Yep. He was a late draft pick.
He was there before Giannis, or
at the same time.
Around the same time. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Giannis came first, and then Middleton was like a year after. Or something.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So number 2 on the list, Chris Paul.
Yeah.
He's right up there for one of the best players in the league, one of the best players all time without a championship. He kind of needs it. I mean, it's not the same as some other players in the league where he gets there and he chokes every time. He's had the opportunities, but it's injuries or like his second best player, James Harden, comes out and shoots like 3 of 17, and it's not on Chris Paul the fact that he doesn't have one, and he's leading this Phoenix team now. That you can say what you want about Booker, but Chris Paul is the leader of that team. You can tell. Like, as soon as he went there, it was just, this is how we win. Either buy in or get out. Yeah. And everybody bought in. And that's how you see the greatness of this team.
He may not lead the team statistically.
No.
But, like, he's the heart of that team. He's, spiritually the leader.
It's leadership.
Leadership, yeah. So, like, I'm curious as to who your number 1 is. I think I know. But because I think Chris Paul would have been my number 1. Doing that just because he's obviously so old, he's on the back 9, got to win one. Last year had his chance, and I'm thinking, okay, that's really unfortunate because it wasn't what I looked at as a powerhouse team, because I think the Bucks had a similar Brooklyn Nets run last year. I think what seed were they last year? I can't remember.
I want to say 3 again.
They were 3,
yeah.
I was thinking they were even lower because I remember it not being like the top teams. in the finals. I was like, man, it's a really good chance for him to do it, and he didn't. I was like, okay, well, they might miss out on it. And so I obviously I was wrong about that. They had a fantastic year even when he didn't play.
They came back with vengeance.
Now, I mean, they're obviously a very heavy favorite to
at least
be in the finals again and have another shot at it, right? So
I always try and link present day to history, like past kind of things that have happened. And I look at Phoenix Suns like I look at the Utah Jazz with Karl Malone and John Stockton. It's like you got there and it was just this killer will guy, Michael Jordan, Giannis, that just refused to lose. They're not going to take a bunch of threes. They're just going to get in there and outwork you. And their will is just going to be too much. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it could be a very similar situation this year.
Yeah.
They get there again, back-to-back years, great teams, and then they just... If it was anyone else in the whole league, Charles Barkley, anyone else from the East that you can think of, it would have been a Utah championship.
Yeah, I think too, when we look back at those KD championships, nobody expected Cleveland to beat them. Exactly. It was done. Exactly. It was okay, the best we can do is get to the finals. Hopefully we don't get swept, kind of thing. They were just outmatched. Yeah, exactly. At best, we'll win one at home, and that's that. But this is it's the same thing, but it's just one force instead of a whole collective group.
Exactly.
Right? It's just that one force. We're okay, there's only so much that we can do. And again, he's getting better year after year. So
impressive.
So number one on my list,
drum roll,
James Harden. I mean, this guy has just had a terrible run in the playoffs. Missing huge shots. It's almost like he's lost out there. He's supposed to be the leader, the leading scorer, the guy who's going to push the offense and do what he wants to people because he's one of the best ISO players in the league.
Yeah.
And it's if he's just in, some backyard court playing ball, it's there's no expectations, we're just playing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is not what it is in the NBA. The entire world heaps expectations on you and then judge you based on how you perform. And James Harden just hasn't performed to that point at any time.
Yeah.
It's not injuries and it's not, he had Chris Paul on his team who played great. And he had Russell Westbrook on his team, and they had the Warriors down. Well, wait now. This was Harden and Paul, right?
Yeah.
Before they got Westbrook.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they lost to Golden State. But, this playoff run is the biggest playoff run of James Harden's career right now. Yeah. He decides to leave Brooklyn. I don't need you. It's too much. I'm going to be expected to do too much. Mm-hmm. And now he leaves. The mandate gets lifted from Brooklyn. Kyrie's able to play now at home games. So, what happens if Philly plays Brooklyn in the conference championship?
I think...
How is James Harden going to even handle that pressure?
I think that they would just humiliate him.
I would certainly favor Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving, last time they played...
You remember the first game?
He was guarding him straight up, half court.
Yeah.
As soon as he came over, half, I'm guarding you, I'm taking you out of the game. And he did just that.
Yeah.
The thing is, I almost think him and Ben Simmons, if he's playing at that point, will cancel each other out with, okay,
mentality.
I'm scared and you're scared. So two of us are just
hanging it over here.
We're basically just going to hide in a corner, and then you got Embiid versus, obviously, KD and Kyrie. So, I would favor Brooklyn for sure.
Yeah. So, if James Harden could go through Brooklyn, get to the finals, and win, he doesn't even have to be the lead dog. He just has to get this narrative off his resume. Just,
the monkey off the
I can play, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he just got to go into that like this.
Well, and then the other part of it as well that I'd like to mention is not only did he... you probably can't count as much when he was in Oklahoma City because he was young and he was a sixth man. We lost there and then gets to Houston, plays for what? He was there for 7-8 years or something.
Yep.
Spent the bulk of his career there. Failed multiple times along the way. Came up small in a lot of key moments. And then got to a point where he just forced himself out of the franchise to get to Brooklyn. got to Brooklyn,
failed
miserably again in the playoffs last year, didn't have a good series against Milwaukee, and then forced his way out of Brooklyn, and now he's here. So what happens this year? If he gets into the playoffs and stinks it up again, does he force his way, or he's a free agent next year, is he?
I think so.
So does he just leave again?
They're planning on re-upping him with an extension, but
does he leave again? And if not, does he stay for another year and then lose again and then force his way out? Like, what happens?
You look at James Harden. He's probably the greatest regular season player of all time to never win a championship.
Yeah, like, I mean...
And that's a title nobody wants.
Back when he was with Houston, he was like king of the conference finals, you know? Like, I'll get you there, but that's pretty much it. And
we'll fall flat on our face.
Yeah, I find that, like, he's really been getting on my nerves with this forcing each other. Like, there's already been reports that he's upset in Philadelphia about certain things. Yeah. And, like if he gets extended, okay, you know, I guess whatever, it's smoothed over. But, like, how many places can you force yourself out of? I mean, before you're like Westbrook 2.0. I mean, like this is just like you're playing your way out of good situations. Really, I mean, like yes, Philly's a little bit
Houston
ahead of Brooklyn, like in the standings. But I mean, like, you know, if they had matched up, like we just mentioned, like I think I would favor Brooklyn.
The only difference between him and Westbrook is at least Westbrook's going out there, giving his all, leaving everything out on the floor, and then the franchise makes the decision. We're going to have to move on because this just isn't working. Yes. James Harden goes out there, stinks it up, doesn't do anything, and then says, I want out of here because...
It's your fault. It's not mine.
Blaming it on the franchise. So at least Westbrook can take ownership over his bad play and move on. And
like I said last week, like Russell Westbrook is just who he is, right?
He is, yeah.
And when you break it down, you look at history and how his career's played out. Him going to the Lakers, you couldn't expect anything different than what happened.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe coaching adjustments could have saved it, but James Harden is very similar in that sense where you've seen it a million times. When are you just going to watch it and just say, he's just not that guy? Like, why are you pretending to be that guy? Just be a number two. Defer to Joel Embiid, most dominant center in basketball. Just let him do his thing, and then you be the complimentary guy.
It's almost like he looks at it like he don't want to give the reins to somebody else. Like it's not like, don't look at your teammate as competition. Look at him as an asset to propel yourself.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Like my thing with him too is like I know this is most of the game with the championship, but there is a way to me anyways that he can not win a championship and still gain respect. Like if they make it to the finals and lose to Phoenix, nobody's gonna shun him.
A finals appearance.
That's what I mean. Get to the finals. I mean, if he gets to the finals and plays like absolute dog shit, okay, okay.
That's another.
Maybe, but if he plays, pretty good, solid, lights out basketball, like for 3 rounds, you make it and you lose in 6 to Phoenix. Nice competitive series. Nobody was crapping on Phoenix losing to Giannis and
it was a respectable loss.
It was nobody's like we get it. You play the force. Like if they go up against Phoenix and lose, you can still gain some.
Respect,
yeah.
Respect amongst your peers. You're a finals player.
You don't have to win the whole a championship is bonus, obviously gravy, whatever as we said, but you can get there and do what you need to do, play good ball, use Embiid as a positive thing.
Yes,
and just do that. Win some games, get where he needs to get.
There is one more name I want to throw out.
That's my next question.
Just, I guess quickly, I don't know how long we've been on this now, but Steph Curry. I think not that he has a lot to gain because he has 3 championships. It's not like, oh wow, Steph Curry wins this, he's going to be much better. It probably won't change a whole lot, but I think him now with players in the league, if he wins another one, he has 4 championships, and he's there with LeBron.
Yeah. As active players, he's the leader. 1A, 1B.
And I feel like that kind of adds a lot of value because I feel like he's flown under the radar since they last made it to the finals. He's been injured.
Well, it was a rebuild year last year.
Exactly.
Yeah. And this year is...
Yeah, so if he wins a championship this year, that puts him back on the map, and then that could propel him forward to win again. And if he wins again, he surpasses LeBron with 5. And that puts him in Kobe's territory, Magic's territory, stuff like that. So it's like, this could be the start of another, not dynasty, but another crazy run by the Golden State Warriors.
The big thing for me, the narrative I'll put on it. Steph, he wins with just a home-built team, similar to Giannis, right?
Yeah, that's a big thing too.
Yeah.
And then they make the finals again. So it's continued success. It's not just 1 year flame out.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets KD. And then his 2 championships are kind of... Like, people got an asterisk on those as well. But he has his own.
He does.
He has his own championship.
Yes, yeah.
And if he wins it again this year, it'll be proven that, you know, he can do it on his own regardless who you got there.
Exactly.
It doesn't need a superstar like Durant to take him over the top. I'm going there anyway. If you join me, it'll be a great help.
It just really puts us like a step above.
Yeah.
Like he's still, that would be 2.
So that's kind of my honorable mention for.
Yeah.
Do you got one, Shane?
No, I mean that's you pretty much covered all bases. I mean,
Yeah, I think that's majority.
I think that's really the most that steps out. I mean, it'd be nice for Kyle Lowry, I guess, to win one in with the
That'd be
Heat,
nice.
with the Heat.
And
But
Jimmy Butler too.
He did win one. So I mean, it's not like he's don't have one.
Probably
Jimmy
a big
Butler.
thing for Jimmy Butler as well.
Butler's
After getting there
solid,
versus the Lakers, not winning, he played amazing in the finals as well.
He did.
Had like a 40-point triple-double on a win.
Bam was out.
Yeah.
Remember, he was out in game 2. They had to go the rest of the series without him.
Tough.
It was tough. Yeah.
That's tough, yeah. But, I mean, like you said, he's kind of one of those people who fly under the radar anyways. But Miami is a great team, and if they get there again, God only knows what could happen.
Yeah, that's right. So, boys, let's get into our first round preview here now. I guess we'll start with the Western Conference. We'll go through the 4 matchups there. And we'll start with Phoenix Suns and the Pelicans. My pick in this series is Phoenix, of course. I mean, it's a nice run for the Pelicans. Finally getting into the playoffs. Brandon Ingram's first appearance, I just think, is more of a consolation prize. And maybe next year when they're healthy, you get Zion, or you trade them and you get some pieces to fill in around Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum. Because I don't know what the GM is thinking there.
Yeah.
Like I've heard reports that Zion thinks he's ready to play. He's posting all kinds of videos of him cramming the ball.
Dunks and all
Yeah,
that.
like he looks healthy to me. Healthy enough to play basketball. You know what I mean?
Well, if he's
He'd be
doing
better
that,
than 50%.
360 windmill dunks. Like he's just out there doing a couple layups, like kicking the knee out, just kind of seeing how he's feeling, like whatever, some stretches. Like okay, like you don't look like you're okay, but when he's doing stuff like that, you're like, why even?
And apparently the GM is disagreeing with the severity of the injury. So Zion thinks he's healthy, but the GM is saying, no, you're too big of an asset. I don't think you're healthy. I don't want you to ruin your career.
It's the risk factor for sure. And you could definitely see that from management perspective. Like, this is going to be our guy going forward. If he gets healthy, then he's going to be the guy. And it's definitely not a bad idea to take, the summer, try and get him on a Weight Watchers program and try and get him back in shape. And then next year, hopefully, comes out like a bull and Sean Sharp and just can get you into that tier of somewhere in the middle of the pack of the playoffs. Because, I think they're about a year away.
That would be a solid team. Think about it. B.I. or Zion is your number 1 and number 2. So you kind of got that figured out. Then you got C.J. McCollum as your 3.
That's great.
And Chicken Alfredo there running around.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing.
Valanciunas as a 4. Like, they'd have a solid roster.
They're definitely, I think, in my mind, a year away. This just isn't their year. Matched up with Phoenix. It's an impossible task to ask of a few young fellas. And,
I got Phoenix in 5.
Same, 4-1.
Actually, yeah, same thing.
Okay.
Phoenix in 5, yeah. I just wanted to mention, too, like, that seems like I think we mentioned, like, they were thinking about, oh, no, that was Charlotte, that they were going to bring in Westbrook. Like, I feel like it would almost be addition by subtraction again with Zion this year, just because, like, it seems like they got a good thing going right now.
Yes.
Like, it seems like it's almost like if you throw him in the mix, it might throw him off even more. And, of course, that risk factor down at that point. Yeah. So I don't really think it's worth it. Like, I don't think even if you throw him in, like, would you give him an extra game? Would you say 6, or would you keep it at 5? I think I'd keep it at 5.
It's such a wild
I go 6. I go 6.
You think you give him so maybe then if you feel he gives you an extra game, maybe 2,
and they win an unexpected game. It comes into game 7.
Exactly. So if that's how they feel, they should do it.
I think so too.
Right? Because at that point you believe that you can actually win.
Like watching the Pelicans, you see stagnant moments where they get 2 points in a 4-minute stretch, or this wouldn't happen with Zion.
No.
You miss a shot, he's a run stopper. The other team's going on a run. You come down the court, your guys are cold. He misses a shot. Zion's going to get the rebound, put it back in, or he's going to get the rebound, miss, get his own rebound, miss, get his own rebound, put it in. It's just it's killer will. It's very similar to Giannis in that way. Mm-hmm. As a second-year player, averaging almost 27 points on 60% field goal percentage. It's
crazy.
Super impressive stuff, right?
And he was injured, but he played 60 games that season, which is a nice sample size.
It is, yeah.
So if you do incorporate him over a full season next year, then you start the playoffs with that established group.
You don't have to screw with playing.
No, yeah, you're almost like you're throwing a whole nother wrench, and that's why there's a trade deadline, because you have time to build that chemistry before the playoffs and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I think next year they bring them back, put them in the fold, and then see how good they can do. They'd probably be, like I said, somewhere 6, 7 seed, maybe a bit more established than what they were.
Right, just in the middle, like 6, something like that.
Yeah,
depending on what happens next year, obviously.
Yep.
I could see them in that Denver slot this year. Like,
yes.
Respectable team.
Probably still not a favorite in the first round.
No, but
very
respectable
competitive.
Yeah. And anything could happen. So, yeah.
All right, so let's move on to maybe one of the most high-flying series that we're going to see. Memphis and Minnesota. So, Minnesota, it's going to surprise you. It's going to blow you away. The Timberwolves are the number 1 rated offense in the entire league.
Yeah, that's
116 points a game.
If you gave me 25 guesses at the top offensive team, I wouldn't have guessed the Timberwolves.
Yeah. And Memphis, number 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's impressive stuff.
Yeah.
But the difference here, the Timberwolves, 3rd in steals per game and 3rd in blocks a game. Okay? So that's great. It's great defense.
Good defense.
But it turns out Memphis is 1 in both categories.
Wow.
Right? Opponent point per game, Memphis 12th in the league. Timberwolves not so great, 24th. So I feel like that's going to be the biggest difference in this series is your defense and how you limit the other side. If Cat plays anything similar to what he did in playing game, well, they're done in 4 games,
Yeah.
But I got Memphis in 6 games here.
Yeah, I got Memphis in 6 as well. This is a tough one, though, man. I will say that.
Tougher than you would think.
It is, yeah.
With
the way that Memphis has been playing this season and everything you just mentioned, obviously, it's just hard to bet against them at this point. And the only thing I guess I could say is maybe their inexperience. But at the same time, Minnesota hasn't been there either. So it's like, what do? You got Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, and Karl Anthony Towns on one side. So it's like, it's tough. It's very tough. I don't know, but it is going to be 6 games for me, 4-2.
I actually had Memphis in 5. For a lot of John did a great job of breaking down the analysis of offense, defense that both teams have. So it should be closer than what it seems. But really, I really think Josh just this is a coming out party for him. I think this is his first chance to really step up on a bigger stage and really show, okay, I'm here.
Yeah,
right?
for
sure. And this is they've got a great team around them. They're healthy. I do think if they can match them, like I said, offense and defense, that's kind of playing strength against strength. And I do give Memphis the edge. They played it all year.
Yeah.
They're second seed for a reason. They win games.
And it's not just with a superstar.
Yes.
Ja missed 22 games, and they went 18-2.
And
their
record is fantastic, right?
Great,
so, yeah,
great roster.
Phenomenal.
Absolutely. So you can even say he's a bit healthier too, because
he's had some rest.
Yeah, he's had a bit of rest. So Minnesota did play the extra game. I don't really think that's going to affect him one way or the other, but. So I really like Memphis here. I'm kind of trusting my gut that Memphis is for real.
Me too.
There's a part of me that's like as Gudmund said, they're both kind of inexperienced. This could really be a toss-up. Who's really going to take advantage of this moment? I don't think either team before the season started was okay, we're going to be a second-round team.
Both of these teams are learning on the fly.
Yeah.
And you're going to see it when they go up against an experienced squad.
Yeah.
When it's calm and we're making plays and we're just going to run our offense. Well, maybe these teams are kind of panicking in a way.
Mm-hmm.
You know how a championship team is just calm demeanor. You're not getting under their skin.
Yeah.
They've been here before. They've seen this crap. But it's all new to both of these teams.
And that's a big thing. It's going to be who's going to reach out and take it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, which team is going to rise up and take it? I don't know. It could be either way, but like you said, I feel more comfortable going with Memphis in this series. For
I feel like the thing too with Memphis at 5 and looking at their records now, like their home record is very good. One of the best in the West. Only 2 games behind Phoenix. So they played very well at home. And on the road, they're 11 games above 500, whereas Minnesota on the road are 20 and 21.
That's the difference in records.
Yeah. So I expect Memphis to win every home game in that sense, and then steal one on the road to make it 5, and then that's why I got it for 5.
Yeah, makes sense. But for me, like I took into account, like I said, John's patented scoring table, 7 stats, figure out who has the edge, and then this week I added a big player factor, and for me, Memphis just got it with Ja.
Yeah,
you know, like. This could be the year Anthony Edwards breaks out though, and matches Ja. So
if he keeps playing the way he's played, yeah, that playing game was very impressive.
That big player factor right now is green for Memphis and red for Timberwolves. But if Anthony Edwards comes out like I think he can, that's going to be more like yellow. You know, for both squads, it's going to be kind of a cancel out. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be a very interesting series. I think this is going to be a young, athletic, high-flying, high-pace series the whole time.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so we'll get into Golden State versus Denver, 3 versus 6. For me, this is going to be one of the closer series. Could go either way. I'm giving a lot of respect to Jokic, I think, when it comes to how many games I have them winning. But I'll take Golden State in 7. I really think it's going to go all the way. I'll give him the edge at home. I think, Klay Thompson could have one of those games where he goes off for $1 billion.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I just think Golden State has that hole inside where they can't match Jokic for the size. I just think he's going to dominate inside in certain moments. Again, I'll give him the edge on a lot of their home games. I do like Golden State to make a bit of a run. As John said last week, they're certainly in a spot where they can. Really, if they get clicking at the right time, they could be trouble. And again, as you said in the last preview, that when you see an inexperienced team go against a more experienced team, the cream might rise to the top. And I think that's a little bit of that there. I don't think Denver's really got that experience quite like Golden State.
And with the injuries.
And the injuries, yeah, of course. So, I mean, Steph Curry's still a little dinged up, too, at the moment. Hopefully he's 100% by the time this series really gets into the crux of it. But, I'll take Golden State in 7.
Yeah, I'm going to take Golden State in 6. I feel like they steal Game 6 on the road at Denver. I think the biggest thing for this series for me is the fact that Denver is missing Jamal Murray.
And Porter Jr.
And Porter Jr. But in the playoffs, like you've seen when they came back in that series against Utah, him just going toe-to-toe with Donovan Mitchell and just battling, putting up 40-point games.
50-point games.
50-point games. He's just
unreal.
He's just like such a difference maker and a huge shot maker and complements Jokic so well that it's like him missing out on this playoff run is just, to me, it's really going to be the difference in this series. Like you said, I do give Denver the respect of 6 games for sure. I think it'll probably be competitive. But if you give me Jamal Murray in this situation, I think it gets a lot closer.
Yeah.
And that's probably the biggest difference for me. So I'm going to go with the fact that Golden State can kind of turn it on. They've had the experience. They've been there, won the championship. They got their main core back and some great players to complement them. So you can give me Golden State in 6.
Okay. For me, boys, you might not realize it, but Golden State is the 3rd best team in defense in the entire league.
Yeah.
Which is shocking.
That is shocking.
The size of their lineup, like you had mentioned in your kind of analysis there.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it. And they hold teams to the 2nd best field goal percentage in the league. But the thing is, Denver's number 2 in field goal percentage. It's because of Jokic, and he gets inside, and everybody gets an open shot. Yeah. When he gets in the key and he's able to set up and kind of survey the land, it's over. Those shooters, but without their second scoring option and their third scoring option,
it's tough.
Those other guys around him are really going to have to step up and make those shots. Because, again, like, if they don't have the size inside, and that's a big reason why I think 7, like, even the smaller guys are going to have to crash down a bit lower and help out. At least try to steal it or something. I know you're not going to block them with Steph Curry, but, those guys are going to have to help in, get everything more down low. Like I said, those perimeter guys should have a bit more extra room, extra second to get a shot off.
Yeah.
So I do think they'll have some shooting lanes, but they got to make them.
Yeah. So I got Golden State in 5 games. Yeah. I think the experience of that team is slept on this year.
For sure.
The guys that are on this squad, it's the 3 leaders on the team. It's just championship pedigree. That's it. It's championship or bust, and they let the young players know that we're going to expect you to step up at some point in the game. And Jordan Poole, Kuminga, these guys are. Kuminga's super athletic, young player.
Yeah.
He's going to be crashing the boards like crazy. In moments, he's only going to play 20 minutes a game. But it's like you said, a spark plug, right?
Yeah.
You throw him in, you get some fire out of him, you take him off. Same with Jordan Poole. When Curry's off the floor or Clay's off the floor and you got him playing with either Clay or Steph, he's lights out, man.
He's had a really good year.
He's a potential all-star next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching Draymond Green. He has a podcast, and he had Steph Curry on his show, and the boys were talking about their previous championship runs and going forward, and he kind of touched on what you were just talking about, and that difference between leadership, experienced players have been there before, and having these young guys on the team who don't know what it takes to win, and historically that just hasn't really meshed in the past, like in NBA history. And
you look at LeBron, he never wants to play with young players because he doesn't want to deal with that.
And that's the thing, right? And yeah, exactly. So he kind of mentioned the fact that that'll be huge for them if they can overcome that this year. And what the process has been like trying to get these guys on board. And it was a funny podcast. I'd tell you to watch it if you have any time. But yeah, no, he kind of touched on the same thing. I think that's a big point as well. And hopefully, like you said, they can rise to the occasion. And if they do, I think they could be an unstoppable force.
I think so too. I think this team is slept on. Like, they don't get any respect since KD left.
Yeah,
it's just the shooting bunch out west.
Yeah, and they've been in. They've had guys in their lineup all season as well. So you might have just not got the chance to see their full potential, really, with 3 of them around, because they've only played a handful of games together.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
So I think if they can get through like the first round, like you think that chemistry will really start to build.
Oh, I think so.
If they get to like say the conference finals, like they could be going on all cylinders.
I think they have a really good shot at making the finals this year because they get out of this round.
They're on a good side of the bracket.
Then they're playing Memphis or Minnesota, 2 really young teams, right?
Yeah.
So they win that. Now they'll have to face a tougher matchup in the conference finals, but it's nothing they haven't done before, obviously.
So if it does go John's way and they finish them in 5, then they got a pretty favorable matchup.
And they got a lot of rest.
Looking really good. Man. Yeah, you have that extra rest.
Everything's working in their favor.
Yeah, it really is there. Like if everything kind of pans out perfectly, it really does look good for them. Okay, so we'll get into the final in the West. Utah and Dallas. So Dallas does have home court, but Luka is out game 1, possibly game 2. Certainly changed my pick in the series. What do you guys think about this one?
For me, this couldn't have worked out worse for Dallas. Not only are they missing Luka, but they're the higher seed, and the first 2 games are at home.
Yeah.
So, if they were the 5 seed and Utah was the 4, that would change my pick for sure, because Utah wins 2 at home. You're expected to win 2 at home. You come out, Luka, hopefully can get you 2, and then even keel. Fair series, right?
Yeah.
But having that higher seed now, that puts them in a terrible situation, because if they lose 2 at home without them, man, they're really up against the wall going into Utah. So That's the biggest thing for me with this series. Still, I'm going to take Utah in 7. I think Doncic comes back, plays absolutely out of his mind, and ultimately falls short. But it's tough. It's very
razor
tough.
thin with the injury.
It's tough, yeah. So, that's going to be my pick for sure. I think the situation is terrible, but I think they can make a series out of it regardless.
I had Dallas as one of my teams last week that I thought could make a run at it, and as I mentioned to the guys before I got on, kind of got to contradict myself a little bit because I am going to take Utah to win this series. I have them in 6 just because I think if it goes 7 and Luke is back by that time, which I fully expect him to, he might be able to will him in that game 7 at home. So I think I'm going to have Utah win it before it gets there just because, if I think it's going to go 7, I think I might have swayed my pick a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think it might even be 2-2 after 4 games, and then Utah wins 1 on the road and then closes out at home. So I'll take Utah in 6. I just think it's very unfortunate timing. I probably would have picked Dallas if Luka was playing.
Yeah.
I think they may even win one at home without Luka. I think if he don't play, I think it might be 1-1, like I said, then 2-2. If he comes back, he'll just will one. In Utah, and then I think they'll drop 2, so it'll be 4-2 for Utah. So they've got some great playmakers. They get a good roster. They do have some experience in the playoffs now. I know they don't ever go super far, but they have been first round winner in a couple series past couple years. So I like what they've been doing. Dallas really hasn't got past the first round in the past couple years now, but again, they have been there. They have played. I mean, it was in the bubble and stuff with Luka and them. So. Take that, experience for what it is. But, so I'll take Utah in 6.
So, for me, this is the battle of 2 teams that have been bullied by the Clippers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And who is the better of the bunch, Looking at my scoring table, I'm just going to show you guys, okay? Utah leads almost every category.
Yeah.
Okay? But that one on the bottom, big player factor, I have to give it to you or give it to Luka. Just what he's shown so far in his playoff career.
Yeah.
It's going up against 2 stars, Kawhi and Paul George. He lost to him 2 straight years. That's nothing to scoff at, though. 2 of potentially the best perimeter defenders in the entire league. And still put up 36 points a game and almost a triple-double. It's how do you even do it? It doesn't even make any sense. So, I'm going with Dallas here in 7. I think they split 1-1. They split in Utah 1-1. Dallas wins at home. Mm-hmm. Utah wins at home. Dallas finishes it off in the big player game for me.
Yeah.
I think Luka takes it over in Game 7.
I will say that Donovan Mitchell does have that factor as well.
He's in there.
Man, in his rookie season, he went up against Paul George and Russell Westbrook on the road and beat them, I think, in 6 games. In his rookie season.
Yep.
And, they matched up with Denver the other year. They blew that 3-1 lead. He played unbelievable. Denver went on to go to the conference finals. So he's had a few unfortunate runs, but I think he is, man, when push comes to shove, he is...
he's a killer.
Killer as well, yeah.
He's a killer, man.
So, I don't know. But it's tough, man. This is probably one of the harder series to pick.
This is going to be a great series.
Yeah, I think like the Luke injury obviously swayed me too. I think I probably would have went Dallas in 7 too, because again, if they I had Utah in 6, but if they blow one of those games and it is 3-3 and it's at home, I think I would have went Dallas too.
Yeah,
I think I'm with you with that. So I think I just think Utah will squeak that last one. Probably steal Game 5 in Dallas and then close it out. But man, I can see it going 7 for sure.
It should be a great series.
Should be one of the better series, yeah, for sure.
So to recap the West, I think we all had
the only series we differed on was the last one, I think.
Yeah. All right.
So I had Phoenix, Memphis, Golden State, and Utah. So.
Right. You both had that.
Yeah.
And I got Dallas instead.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. All right, boys. So on to Atlanta and Miami. This is going to be a weird series because Miami to me have just been, I don't know, they've been a great team at points, But then they also like play like one of the worst teams. You know, they can't hit a shot. They don't show effort in rebounding, and they're always effort on defense, right? Yeah. But I don't know, man. I gotta pick me, but I'm kind of really
same.
Really, up in the air with this one. Just because what Atlanta did last year. Trae Young, man, just lighting everybody up in the East, make it to the conference finals is impressive stuff. But I'm gonna go Miami Heat in 6 here. I don't really have an argument for it. It was just my gut. That's all I got.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Miami in 7. I think they win at home in Game 7. I hate that I have to make this pick though, because I just love Trae Young on the road, man. Like facing adversity, man. He just accepts it, and like, man, I just think that he's gonna be probably the best player on the floor in this series.
Yes,
and
he is the best player on the floor, guaranteed.
Yeah. And that'll be a huge difference. I feel like his supporting cast is also great. Miami's more gritty. That's the Spoelstra way. That's the Miami way.
Playing in the trenches, man.
And I feel like that will probably be the difference, is just them gutting out this series in Game 7. It'll probably be an even split through the whole thing. I wanted to say that Atlanta wins one on the road and then close it in 6. That was something that was on my mind as well, but I don't know. It's just a gut feeling, like you said. I don't really know how to feel about this series, so I'm just gonna go with the better team, and Miami's experiencing the finals, I guess. I don't know. It's tough, but
yeah, I think this could really hinge on one game. Really, I do have Miami in 6 as well, as John had. I think Atlanta, as we said, with the playing game, like, they're drawing momentum from 2 like strong games now where they can propel themselves into the first round. They're going straight on the road again. Can Trae Young win on the road? Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think Miami's slightly overrated as the number 1 seed. I don't like when I
for sure as number 1.
When I think about number 1 seed, I look at Phoenix as like one of this like invincible powerhouse. I don't feel that way with Miami. I don't have that same gut feeling that they're like just okay. They are the best team in this conference.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if I feel that way with them. I do think they have enough, and kind of the same as Golden State. They're kind of on that pretty side of the bracket too, where if it kind of goes the way that I have it picked, they could certainly have a path to make it to the conference finals, and then I guess we'll kind of see where it goes from there. But so I'll take Miami in 6 over Atlanta. I think Atlanta does have a lot of great shooters around them that can make this go 7 as well. I mean, wouldn't be shocked one bit of me if it does go 7, but even if it does, Miami's at home for that game, so I do trust them to win this series.
Yeah, to me, so far in Trae Young's playoff career, I'll include the playing, he's beaten up on mentally weak teams, I'll say. The New York Knicks last year. He just terrorized them. It was gross, He was the villain.
He was, yeah.
By a landslide. Like, just waving off the crowd. Everybody hated him in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
And then they get to play Philly. The Ben Simmons meltdown is historic, really, and he hasn't played since. So, has Trae Young retired Ben Simmons? Who the hell knows? We'll see. But going up against Miami, that's not a mentally weak squad in any stretch of the imagination.
No.
That team is led by Butler, who has NBA Finals experience, and he dragged, Bam with him there. Tyler Hero is getting better and better every year. I just can't see Atlanta pulling
those guys are like coming into their primes now too. I feel like they were almost like a baby version of themselves two or 3 years ago.
In the bubble,
really coming into their own. Yeah, again, bubble.
They were rookies as well.
Yeah, so, exactly. I think they weren't really like, now they're there. They've got that history a little bit. I know last year it was just god awful, but they've obviously rebounded to some aspect and to be the number 1 seed. So
and big additions to this team in this playoffs. Victor Oladipo.
Very true. Yeah.
You can't forget about what he did in Indiana.
Yeah, for sure.
Solid player, 20 points a game. And Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Massive, big, like a viable number 2, number 3 scoring option. And then the charges he takes is in big moments. It's just very hard to bet against this team in the first round.
He's almost playing that Chris Paul role a little bit.
Yes.
Just that fiery leader.
Get you 9 assists.
Guy spender. He's won the championship, you know?
He's got that 3 in his pocket, you know?
That's right, yeah.
He can pull that at any moment or, you know, bam, cutting to the hoop, nice little alley-oop, dunk. You see it all with Kyle Lowry. He's just very mentally tough player.
Yeah. All right, so move ahead. This is, Brooklyn and Boston. This is one of the tougher ones, man, for me to pick. I'm still on the fence. I'm still on the fence. I have a pick. I have Brooklyn in 7, but boy, I don't feel good about it. I don't know. I think if I said Boston in 7 too, I'd feel the same way. Like, this could really this could come down to the last shot, let alone last game, last quarter.
It could come down to the last shot in every game.
Yeah. This is a very evenly matched team. I know Boston can play defense, Brooklyn can score. It's really some powerful teams going at it here in the first round. This is a delicious looking first round series. Superstars, names, experience, you name it. It's pretty much all there. Boston's a higher seed, so this could get interesting if it goes to a game 7 because I kind of favor Brooklyn with the superstar power, of course, but then Boston with the home court. I almost said home field.
We'll get to football later.
Yeah, too much football. I'll take Brooklyn. I mean, God, I gotta trust KD in the game 7 again, even though last year was tough.
Look, he won the game.
Yeah, he did.
He won the game against the Bucks, if not for an eighth of an inch of his
toenail over the line, you know. But then Tatum too. Tatum is such a superstar. I feel like this is a great moment for him to step up and be like, "Listen, I'm one of the best."
It's a huge test.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love for him to, just have a moment here. Oh boy, I cannot wait for this series. I just can't wait. I don't know how to call it. But yeah.
So I've got the same as you. Brooklyn in 7, and I feel pretty good about this. I mean, Boston has had a great run here ever since January 1st. The new year, new me thing, that's the slogan in Boston, you know?
Yeah.
Turned out they're the number 1 rated defensive team. And this is after being the 29th rated defensive team up until Christmas.
That is insane.
How do you do that? How do you still get the number 1? You've got to play that much. When you're 29th up until Christmas, you have to play that much better than this number right here, 104.5 opponents' points per game, doesn't do them justice. Since New Year's, they've been 101.2. So it's almost holding everybody to 100 points.
It's crazy.
The defense is crazy. They got bodies everywhere. But to me, the difference in this series, and it might seem irrelevant to most people, but Robert Williams being out, he is just he's a spark plug rebounder. He'll make big plays. He's not a big game player, a superstar guy, but it's the Jonas Valanciunas. It's what Larry Nance did last night. He could do with blocks and dunks and just energy plays, right? And then missing him,
is he for sure out the entire series? Like if it goes 7, would he?
I don't know.
Would he have the ability to be back?
Not sure.
I don't know the extent of his injury.
Because I know it was a couple of weeks now, and obviously if this goes 7, it'll be about
right in that timeline.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like they're at home and he plays in a game 7. That could factor in.
Yeah, I got the same as you guys. I'm gonna take Brooklyn in 7. This is a very hard one though. I feel like the worst part of this is it could come down to 2 different things, and it could be Boston in Game 7. I feel like you said, Shane, this could come down to a game-winning play. And I feel like there's 2 things that can happen. Boston makes a huge defensive stop and wins the game, or Brooklyn makes a huge shot to win the game. And to me, like you said, Boston number 1 in defense. I mean, that's huge, but I feel like you gotta give me Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in that situation. Just those clutch players.
To me,
they've both hit huge shots in their careers. buzzer beaters, game winners, you name it.
To me,
they're going to be the best 2 players on the court.
You look at how the league is going these days, and it's offense first.
Yeah.
If you have an elite offensive player going against an elite defensive player, you've got to give the elite offensive player the edge. Just because, and especially KD, with the length, you got to guard him at 28, 30 feet. You know, he can walk up the floor and just pull a 3, and it's like he's shooting a free throw.
Yeah.
And there's nobody in his face, you know.
One thing I will say about Jason Tatum is I love Jason Tatum, amazing player, but I feel like this is going to be more of a game of consistency.
Yes.
Where you know what you're going to get from Durant and Kyrie every night. One of them is going to get you 30 or more. They might have one off game in this series. One off game each. I'll give them one each. I think Tatum could give you up to 3.
But what do you consider an off game for KD or
like 24 points or something? Say which is insane. But you got to think about who else is going to step up and go off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
If they go down and Tatum has a great game, Brown has a great game, like.
But to me, all series, KD could average 24, and he could average 11 assists.
But as long as Kyrie, but like they're scoring, you know, they got to come on for 55, 60 something points, and then now they're gonna win ball games, right?
They might be, yeah.
And that's the thing. If they can consistently play like that, and they can go back and forth on 30-point games, one gets, you know, low 20s, next one goes up to 30, 28 points, something like that. Every game, you know, they'll be fun. But I feel like Jason Tatum, you know, you seen it in that game. They played Brooklyn, and he had to go out for 50 to beat Brooklyn. Yeah. So it's like, how much weight are you going to put on his shoulders, and how consistent can he be? I love him.
The big question for me, Jaylen Brown as well.
That too.
Because he could have off games.
Well, exactly. I think too, like if Tatum isn't playing his best ball, like he has a bit more bodies, I guess, around him.
Yeah.
That can pick up that slack.
Yeah, for sure.
But not as good. Like
no.
KD can have a bad game and Kyrie has an unreal game.
Exactly.
And still counteract that. Okay, now KD has a better game next game and Kyrie doesn't. And they still win both those games.
I don't really look at Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown as playmakers either. But Kyrie has shown that he's being able to make plays, getting 10 assists, and KD is turning himself into a proficient passer as well.
Yeah.
So he can dish the ball when he's not scoring. It's just, you know, to me, it's going to come down to a really tough game 7. But
yeah, I think if Tatum does have a bad game, I think it's almost a guarantee Boston loses. Whereas if Brooklyn does, they still have a chance. They have at least one superstar to fall back on.
And I feel like that's only going to happen like once.
And if they both have an off game, like, do you think that's going to happen multiple times?
Exactly.
In Brooklyn,
right?
Probably not. Right?
I wouldn't expect it.
All right, boys. So we all got Brooklyn in 7.
Yeah, like it's razor thin, but we all got the same team.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think that's a superstar factor. You know,
it's
kind of swings.
For sure. Well, I think we all envision it comes down to Game 7, and then when it comes down to Game 7, who would you put money on? You know?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
It's hard to.
If I was a betting man,
yeah, it's hard to not put it on KD and Kyrie.
So, boys, let's move on to, well, to me, one of the least interesting series in this first round, Milwaukee and Chicago.
For me, man, this was a tough one, man. This is I got Bucks in 4. Yeah. Man. This one kept me up last night trying to pick this one, man.
Yeah, I got Bucks in 5. I mean,
I'm gonna gentleman sweep 4-1.
Yeah, part of me wanted to really give like DeRozan and the guys respect to one game, but I was like, man, I can't do all this and not pick one sweep. And I'm like, who's the most likely to sweep? It's got to be the Bucks.
That's fair, actually.
Like I don't feel like we're gonna go through the whole first round with one dominating team. I just feel the Bucks are by far the most likely.
Yeah, I never considered that. I don't have any sweeps.
I just didn't feel right doing it.
Yeah,
giving it like every team's
sacrilegious.
I can't be like, well, I'll give them one game. Like, I just can't keep doing that, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I don't think there's really much to say in that series. Obviously.
Yeah. Sorry, Chicago listeners.
Yeah.
Sorry, fellas.
Sorry, Steve Murphy, if you're listening to my coworker. Big Chicago Bulls fan. The Toronto Raptors versus the 76ers.
Oh, no, let me grab my Canadian flag and wrap it around me first before I make this pick.
Yeah, and brag. So, I got Philly in 6. I know a lot of people are expecting an upset here, but I think Philly takes care of business. That's my take.
I do not. I think Raptors win in 6. I think their defense and their consistency with their top 5 players. They got like 5 players who average over 15 points. It's not just one guy in this series. It's a collective effort. I feel like anybody could go off for 20-something. They're not going to have huge 30-something point games, but they'll get a few players with 20, and then it trickles down to 15, 13, 10. Consistent across the board, great defense. I think this is going to be, like we mentioned earlier, a James Harden
meltdown.
Meltdown. I think, going forward, this is going to be a series where they look back on him and say, wow.
You're basically saying the theme of James Harden stays consistent.
Yes, and I think that he'll have a couple games where he, plays awful, or maybe doesn't play awful, but doesn't play at a superstar level. Joel Embiid's going to get his, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think James Harden is a difference maker here, and the Raptors have beat them three times this season. Most recently, they held him to 25% from the field. He had 13 points. Really got all of his points from the line. And, I just think that, I just really think that Toronto can give them the business in this series, and I hope to God I'm right.
I do have this going 6 games as well, so I'll break the tie. Give me the Raptors. I know, maybe a bit of a shock. Again, part of me was thinking it, at first that it was for the same reason. I was like, I don't have a whole lot of upsets picked here. I got to who do I think is the most likely to pull an upset? I like the matchup. I mean, Toronto matches up so well with Philly. Again, they played them well this year. Like as Gudmund said, they're just a well-oiled machine. They're not dependent on 1 or 2 players. Like if they can, if Siakam has a bad game or Freddie or whoever, they still have everybody around them that can contribute. Nobody's gonna fall off from having a bad game. James Harden was the biggest factor in my pick. I just like to think Philly gets out of the first round, but I mean, if this comes to fruition and this happens, oh boy, he is going to get criticized. He is going, he might be mentally.
I do hope you're right, John, because it would be a sin to see. It really would be. I feel so bad for the fella, but
I think he might wake up, look in the mirror, and just sees Ben Simmons. Like whoever goes to Philadelphia, they just turn into Ben Simmons.
I grew 7 inches overnight.
Now I can play.
And my skin is awfully paler.
I can finally dunk again.
What the fuck?
I mean, I really like that matchup. I think Toronto's got enough around them to really make plays. James Harden crumbles, like Gudmund said. If Harden isn't playing his best, Embiid's just gonna get his.
Yeah,
there's really no way to stop them if that's their main line of offense.
And I think that's another thing as well. Toronto's a long, strong defensive team as well. How well can they play Embiid? I don't think anybody can play Embiid well, but I feel like
he's an beast.
And Milwaukee teams like that, what'd you say?
He's an beast. Yeah. Beast.
Yeah. I think teams like them in Milwaukee, I think they got the best shot of taking down this team, or stop slowing down Joel Embiid. Sorry. So I don't know. I'm gonna stick with the Raps. Completely biased.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not afraid of that.
Something else we kind of touched on it briefly last week, but Tybalt can't play in Toronto.
That too, yes.
So does that mean that Embiid is playing heavier minutes too? Might wear on him as long as the series goes. Again, I think this could be 2-2 after 4. Toronto steals one in Philly in Game 5, and then they close it out at home. That's where they're a little bit shorthanded. So, I mean, because if it's 6, it's 3 in each place, right? So, I mean, Toronto steals 1, takes care of business at home, perhaps. I mean, that's really upset special. Lock it in, bettors.
To me, the reason I think you guys have the Raptors is because of the thought about James Harden. The X Factor thing, right?
That's really what swayed me mostly, yeah.
I just, going through all these stats here, every time I'd look at one, I'd think, okay, yeah, I'm counting the wins for the Raptors here, and I'm hoping for wins in all these categories. But then when I look at it, it's all green for the 76ers. The Raptors' offensive stats are terrible, boys. They're the bottom third of the league in almost every stat. 20th in points per game. 25th in field goal percentage. 20th in three-point percentage. The only thing that they do outstanding is they're top third in the league in opponents' points per game. While the 76ers are also top third. They're right behind them.
Yeah.
107.1 for the Raptors, 107.3 for the 76ers.
Right there. Yeah.
So, just based on the offense, and I got a big player factor put in for the 76ers because the Raptors just don't have that person.
No.
Like, you watch the playing games. This is where I put the Raptors. They're a more disciplined version of a playing team. Great coaching. Phenomenal coaching. Phenomenal effort on all sides. But down the stretch, they can't just give it to some guy and just say, get us a damn bucket.
Take us home, yeah.
You know, first 6 straight games, you're expected to do that. Not one player on Raptors is capable of doing that. And that's what swayed it for me here. I think Embiid's going to have a huge series. But the X factor for me is if Embiid defers to Harden and Harden starts putting up ridiculous threes and step backs and stupid shots in the lane and you just got no confidence, then the Raptors will win the series. But if Embiid has that killer will that just, I'm going to be the number one scoring option and he needs to take it over. And that's what I think is going to happen. I think James Harden's going to take a back seat, and I think Philly in 6.
All right, so that wraps up first round coverage. So are we just jumping right to picks, or
we'll pick our finals.
We'll pick our final. Are we giving games and a winner, or just who we think is going to be there?
Just the 2 teams. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll kick it off then. I'll take kind of boring, but I think it's going to be a rematch of last year. I think Phoenix is favorite. I'll even go a step further and just say, I think Phoenix will beat Golden State in the West Finals, and Phoenix will represent the West again. And the Bucks again, I got them just creaming Chicago in the first round. I think they'll probably match up again. As I said, Miami would meet Toronto, so I'll take Miami in that series. So I think it'll be the Bucks and Miami. In the East Finals, I think the Bucks will just kind of have a mental edge over them after last year, just killing them. So I think the Bucks will be there. In the East Final, I'd really have to think about a winner. Like I said, we'll just pick the 2 teams for now and kind of cross that bridge when we get there. But I think Bucks and Phoenix are going to be my 2.
For me, I have a similar pick, but in pretty much exact same road you got for Phoenix, but I'm taking Golden State in the conference finals.
Ooh.
And my Eastern Conference team is Milwaukee as well. I feel like they take care of business at Chicago, win a tight series against Brooklyn, and take it to town on Miami as well, and then make it to the finals, of course. So that's my road.
Okay, I've got a, I guess, similar thing to you guys, but instead I got Brooklyn and Philly in the conference finals, and I got Brooklyn sweeping them. Sweeping the 76ers 4-0.
Wow.
Them going to the finals. And Golden State beating the Suns in 7. So Golden State and Brooklyn. KD plays his old team. Steph ultimately, in my opinion, would trump him here. We'll see.
Yeah, that was a big thing for me as well. Picking that Milwaukee Brooklyn series. And if mine would have been the exact same thing if I took Brooklyn, obviously.
Yeah, so you got Brooklyn, Milwaukee here.
Or not. Milwaukee, Miami.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
And I did as well. And if that's the way it plays out and Brooklyn is against Miami, I would take Brooklyn.
Because I took Toronto, and then I said, I took Miami over Toronto. And then
right. So I think we're all in agreement that whoever wins this series, Milwaukee and Brooklyn,
in the second round
will go to the finals.
Would be in the finals. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So my pick, Golden State and Brooklyn. Shane's rematch last year, Phoenix Suns and the Bucks. And Goody's
Bucks, Warriors.
Bucks and Warriors.
Can I just say that if that is the finals, Golden State Brooklyn, that would be great.
That would be awesome.
I would love to see that.
I would love the narrative behind it.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily want my pick to come true. I mean, I just think that's the way it is. There's just seem like the best teams right now. Yeah, I'd love to see some
Brooklyn has a very
Brooklyn and
tough
Golden State.
road.
I was gonna say fresh blood, but not really.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same guys we've seen over the past 5-6 years. But
Yeah, that's right.
no, I'd love to see it. Of course, Bucks and Brooklyn in the second round would be delicious again, just like it was last year. And
man,
that would be even entertaining to me more so than the finals.
Yeah.
That would be almost the finals in a weird way, but yeah, I really look forward if that is the way it pans out. So,
all right, so that's it for this episode.
That's all we got. Yeah, for the first round. Next time we'll be back. We're thinking it's going to be halfway through the first round or so, starting today within the hour actually. So we'll get into everything next week. About we were talking last night about what the hell we're going to call it. So we'll just call it like, I don't know, first round update or whatever.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of see how it is next week.
Yeah.
And so that's it. So for John and Gudmund, I'm Shane Stanley, and thanks for tuning in to the second episode of the NBA Roundup Podcast.
See you later. Don't forget to like and share.
See ya.
Peace out.